Today is August 1st. It's trade deadline day here on ClaibsOnline.com. Another edition of Daily Cards Live, brought to you by Munganaz St. Louis Acura and Royal Banks of Missouri. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Bob Ramsey. And Rammer, we are 7 minutes away from the 2023 MLB Trade Deadline. And with that, we open up today's show with a pretty big breaking news right now, as both Jeff Passan and Ken Rosenthal are tweeting out that the Baltimore Orioles are finalizing a deal for Jack Flaherty from the St. Louis Cardinals. So that is that's the latest that we have. When it becomes official and when we know what's going to happen with that, we will be sure to let you know. But it is the second move of the day that the Cardinals have made. Earlier today, they made their third trade in just as many weeks with the Toronto Blue Jays, as they traded Paul DeJong for a Double-A pitcher. Coming after the Bo Bichette news. Rammer, as we wait on the Jack Flaherty news and notes, your thoughts on the Paul DeJong deal?
I think it was great. Great for Paul. Give him a chance to be on a contender again. With Bichette's ouchie knee, they say he's day-to-day, but I think that's maybe some wishful thinking. He'll get a chance to contribute. Even if Bichette's back in the lineup really soon, Paul will be a real compliment to their lineup as a sub, as a backup guy who won't be afraid to pinch hit for people and compromise their defense. Very happy for Paul, and I think it was a smart move by Toronto to bring a capable shortstop in. Nobody you could get could make up for Bichette's bat, but DeJong will be able to play a very good shortstop for them and other positions when they need it.
I wonder, I mean, we don't, again, you and I, we talked about this yesterday. We don't know jack about much of these minor league organizations, these prospects for these teams. We're not going to sit here and pretend like we know who they have and what they got in return. I wonder, though, as far as where the guy ranked in the Blue Jays organization, how much higher the Cardinals got of a prospect given the Bo Bichette news. Like, if this move would have been made 24 hours ago and Paul DeJong got traded to the Blue Jays, what would they have gotten? Did they get a better deal out of it due to the Bo Bichette injury and possibility of him being out?
Interesting question. I think it's a reasonable one, but it probably doesn't matter because what happened, they might not have made a trade at all.
Much
less, much less give up anything for Paul DeJong. But yeah, it would be. I'd be surprised if both clubs came out and said his knee injury had no effect on the deal. That would surprise me.
I mean, I thought that we would not get anything in regards, any kind of news on Bo Bichette until about 5:01 today. That no matter what was going on pregame, they were going to keep mum on it and not say a word to not show their hand with this. But I think
they already made the deal earlier in the day, so
right. But yeah, you could still, kind of keep tight-lipped on that for a bit. So here is what we have. We told you Paul DeJong earlier today in the deal. The Baltimore Orioles are close to getting Jack Flaherty. That coming from Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic. Plenty of Cardinal media down at the ballpark right now. So over the next 15 minutes or so, I would imagine a lot is going to be happening and a lot's going to be said.
Well, here's what should happen. With Brendan Donovan out,
which we haven't talked about yet. Yeah.
And he'll be on the injured list. And losing DeJong, Wynn and Herrera should both be up. And that should be automatic if I'm doing the math right. But I mean, let's say, Edmund comes off. That would be in place of Donovan. DeJong leaves. And then I think, you bring up Wynn for DeJong, and then Mater goes down for Herrera. That's what should happen. I don't think the Cardinals are going to do it. And unless I hear a really good reason why, I'll be critical of it publicly.
The Cardinals, it is, so this from Francis, and this is going to be, I'm sorry if you're watching right now and you're just going to see a lot of me looking at my phone over the next 10 minutes. This from Francis Romero, who is let's see, I'm not seeing, from baseballfr.com. He has reported that Cesar Prieto has been traded to the Cardinals for Jack Flaherty. Cesar Prieto is who is going back to the Cardinals in exchange for that, a Cuban infielder.
I have a thing for Cuban players, so I'm excited.
Yeah, quickly looking up where he is in the system right now. And hopefully grabbing any of this before they actually take it off and move it away from the Orioles main website. As I'm scrolling through here to see where he is the 16th ranked prospect for the Baltimore Orioles, a 24-year-old infielder. Scouting grades put him at an overall 45. I believe that's out of 60 is what they rank him.
I have him ranked 14th.
Okay, you see, so the Rammer rankings have him just a little bit higher than what the MLB pipeline has him. So that's what I'm telling you. That's where the Jack Flaherty trade. That's what they were able to get in return for that. That's for a 2-month rental of Jack Flaherty. You can't compare what the Cardinals got from the Orioles. You cannot compare it to what the Astros got for Verlander earlier today. Absolutely, because that's another big move that happened earlier was Justin Verlander going back to Houston, and Houston sent their number one prospect to the Mets for Verlander. Verlander is still under contract next year with an option for the year after that. So they possibly could be getting back 2.5 years of Justin Verlander. So that asking price is going to be much higher, and that's what the Astros had to give up.
I don't think any reasonable person would make that comparison, though, because the Astros and the Cardinals are in two completely different situations.
Right.
They're not alike at all. And Verlander and Flaherty are not alike at all. So I don't think any reasonable person would make that comparison. I am surprised that the Cardinals didn't move anybody out of their glut of outfielder, first baseman, DH types. And I'm including the AAA level. That really has surprised me because you've solved nothing there. You've got a bunch of guys with promise and no one has grabbed hold of the reins to say, I should be playing every day. And so I guess that's just going to be a problem into next spring.
As I'm just scrolling through Twitter here, as the trade deadline has come, it is 5:00. We'll see what trickles in over the next few minutes. Bob Nightingale tweeting out that the 6th White Sox pitcher has been traded since in the past few days. Keenan Middleton goes to the Yankees. So another pitcher gone from there. The Phillies and the Pirates made a deal. Lefty Bailey Falter for right-handed hitting Rodolfo Castro. Just as I'm scrolling through all of the moves that have been made, we did talk earlier. You mentioned Brendan Donovan. That's kind of the big news going into 2024, that Brendan Donovan is going to be shut down the rest of the season. He's not with the Cardinals right now. He's going to go on the injured list tomorrow. He's going to have season-ending surgery on that throwing arm. He was only able to DH. Reports say that he tried to talk the Cardinals out of doing it. He wanted to DH the rest of the year and help the team however he could. The Cardinals are fully waving the white flag on the year and want him to be ready by the start of opening day for next year.
Well, he's a baller. He's a gamer. I can appreciate what he's saying, but take the extra 2 months for rehab. He doesn't need to earn a spot. Everybody knows what he can do. He's one of the few guys that showed up every day and performed consistently every single day. So I think it's absolutely the right move by the Cardinals. Absolutely. I am curious to find out exactly what the surgery procedure is, and then we can comment on that and probably bring in our friend Dr. Rick Lehman as well once we find out. But I think that's absolutely the right move, and it should allow Mason Wynn to play a bunch, and in my view, should be every day in August and September.
They're saying a flexor tendon injury. That's what they are saying. The surgery to correct that should have him back on the field before spring training of 2024.
Yeah,
So
I know about UCLs and rotator cuff and all that. I don't know much about surgeries for flexor tendons, so I'll do a little investigating.
Diamondbacks acquire Tommy Pham. I don't know if I've mentioned
That's
that one
good for
just
him
yet.
and them.
Another old friend, the Mariners. So earlier it was reported Colton Wong was seen giving hugs around the Mariners dugout or locker room, not because he was traded, actually designated for assignments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all ended too quickly for Colton Wong, and he'd been injured a bunch this year. Obviously, your hope would be that he could work out and have some teams look at him and get an invite to somebody's spring training. Obviously, we love the guy, a really talented player, and hopefully he'll get a look at spring training by somebody.
The Cardinals or I guess the Red Sox possibly interested in picking up Colton Wong already for this season.
Oh, already?
Yeah, so that's the reports. That's as I'm just kind of scrolling through here, seeing what is reported so far. We do, by the way, we do have lineups for the game tonight, as there is going to be a game tonight. Even though all the players have been moved around, the Twins actually doesn't sound like they did anything here at the trade deadline. So your starting lineups for tonight's game between the Twins and the Cardinals will look like this. By the way, hey, brought to you by the folks out at Bootleggin' Tavern and Central State Sandwiches. Bootleggin' Tavern, located at 4501 Shoto in the Grove. It's a new month, which means they've announced their new cocktail of the month. It is a citrus burst featuring Jameson orange, triple sec, orange juice, lemon juice, topped with Starry. You can get that all month long and cool off out there at Bootleggin' Tavern in the Grove. And I know we're planning in a couple Thursdays from now to do a show out at Bootleggin' Bob's.
Looking forward to it.
When Central State Sandwiches is out there selling sandwiches. Cardinal lineup looks like this for today. Lars Nootbaar, he leads off, and he is in right. I just lost the lineup here. Give me 1 second, Rammer.
He's in right.
Yes.
Pitch at first.
Thank you.
Arenado third. Contreras fourth. I think
Tyler O'Neill in left. Yes. Jordan Walker DHing, Tommy Edman at short, Taylor Motter at second, and Dylan Carlson is in center field with Miles Michaelis on the mound. So that is what we have. Yeah.
I just don't get it.
What don't you get about that?
I just don't get the Motter escapades. I just don't get it.
But
maybe
if they
change tomorrow.
I was going to say, but if Wynn isn't here,
well, why wouldn't he be? With modern transportation, you can get across the country in a couple hours.
Okay.
Just saying.
I understand what you're saying and why you're upset. I get it. I do. I'm just. I just.
But another day doesn't matter. Maybe he'll play tomorrow.
I know Derek Gould. I haven't read it yet, but I know Derek Gould has something in his game notes for today about the clock and when they can call Mason Wynn up and not use his rookie season for this year. So
play your guys. Quit dancing around. Yeah. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. Get your players here and play them. Come on.
Carlos Correa leads off for the Twins. He is at short. Eduardo Julian is at second. Max Kepler in right. Byron Buxton is DHing. Jorge Polanco at third. Matt Wallner in left. Ryan Jeffers behind the plate. Joey Gallo at first. Michael Taylor is in center field with Pablo Lopez on the mound. Miles Michaelis making his first start. By the way, did he ever? I mean, the appealed suspension? I never even heard what happened with his appealed suspension. Is it still under appeal? He didn't serve the five games, right?
He has not.
Did baseball forget about it?
If I don't think the appeal has been heard. Usually, on an off day, they'll make you go to New York.
They just had an off day.
Pardon me?
They just had an off day yesterday.
That's what I'm saying. Usually, that's when those kinds of things take place. But I haven't heard today if there was resolution on it. Either it's still under appeal that they'll address at a later time, or they let him go. I don't know. I haven't heard.
The Jeff Passan, and by the way, we have to be careful with who we are reading stuff from here all over Twitter, just based on the fact that all the verified accounts are no longer verified anymore now that it's gone from Twitter to X and new sheriff in town. But it's Jeff Passan also reporting that along with Cesar Prado, left-hander Drew Rom also is going to the Cardinals. So a left-handed pitcher, Drew Rom. Again, Rammer, we don't know anything about these guys, so we just kind of go with it and tell you who they are and what we're being told as we scroll through Twitter. So two guys.
Quite honestly, not to be and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer about it. Doesn't really matter. These are the new guys. They'll slot in somewhere in the organization. The Cardinals have to go get a bunch of pitchers in the winter. We'll see what we have in March. Who they are and what their numbers are, it's not really very relevant. I don't think it's mildly interesting, but there's not much you can draw from it, in my opinion.
Yeah. The Mets traded Dominic Leone to the Angels, so the Angels continue to have a turnover in their lineup, trying to prove to Shohei Ohtani that they're in it to win. So that's another one. Drew Rom, by the way, is on the Orioles 40-man roster. I don't know what that means coming over to the Cardinals, but he is on their 40-man roster as well. So that's what we have. A kind of a lackluster, it seems like, to the finish line here of the trade deadline, Rammer. Kind of upsetting with that. And I'm with you, by the way, on the outfielder situation. If anything, just to flip somebody for a comparable person in another organization, if it's not AAA to AAA, just to get somebody, a pitcher or an infielder in place of an outfielder there. I don't get that either. So I guess
if you're Gomez or Luken Baker or Burleson, and I'm leaving a couple of guys out, you got to be really frustrated. Dylan Carlson, all these guys want to play every day. They're all young guys, and it's they've got to be frustrated.
Now that Paul DeYoung's gone, now that he's gone and Edman's back and Donovan's out for the year, I feel like that puts Gorman as your everyday second baseman, Edmonds as your everyday shortstop, and Jordan Walker, I feel like he's your everyday DH now. He's your everyday DH, Dylan Carlson back in center field for you every day.
I don't think they're going to do that. I think they'll have a lot of Contreras and Burleson as DHs. Maybe not. I think they'll use it like they have all year, rotating guys through.
I mean, it is also kind of a showcase now for 2024, a showcase for the offseason. If you are still looking, if the plan is to trade Tyler O'Neill this offseason, I mean, he's playing every day, and you're hoping he has a second half the same way he did 2 years ago, and you can get what you want for him. And then maybe that opens up things.
Well, I don't want to make the assumption that they want to trade him. He's
I will.
He's hitting up in the lineup today. I think he finally listened to me after the last few years. His on-base percentage since he's come back off the DL is up close to 350. What's funny is he doesn't have any homers. And my point to him was hit 300. You're so strong, the home runs will come. His walk strikeout ratio is now terrific in this time back. And if he just plays this way, he'll be very valuable.
We have one that just came in. The Miami Marlins are acquiring first baseman Josh Bell from the Cleveland Guardians for infield John Segura and infield prospect Khalil Watson. So Segura goes from the Marlins to the Guardians. Segura, who back in 2016 had 203 hits on the season and has never really been able to capture that again since. A good year in 2018, but has not hit over 300 since the 2018 season. So there's another trade for you. So the Marlins too. Hey, the Marlins went out and they got Jake Berger earlier today, 25 home runs on the year for the White Sox. And so they go out and they get him. And now you get Josh Bell, a guy who, if he can find it again, that's two pretty big power hitters in your in the Marlins lineup if they think they can make a run.
That might be a DH platoon for you down in Miami.
I don't know if you're platooning Jake Berger. I think you're finding somewhere to put him.
He hits home runs, but he doesn't get on base a lot. He's kind of a sluggo guy. I'd have to look at his splits before I'd commit to that. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head as you just threw that at me, how that would fit into a lineup.
I couldn't tell you who the Marlins have right now elsewhere, so that one.
I could be right.
You could, yeah. So
I also could be wrong.
And now, yeah, I'm looking here. I'm very confused by some of the things I'm seeing on Twitter also, because now I'm seeing Marlins acquired Josh Bell from the Padres for Garrett Cooper. That according to Ken Rosenthal. So Josh Bell is not on the Padres, though. So
Cooper,
right?
Well, we should do a little more research.
I'm just saying, yeah, we're sitting here. I mean, we are literally sitting here scrolling through Twitter. I mean, that's what happens when we're doing this live right now. Josh Bell is on the Guardians. I will tell you that he's on the Guardians this year.
Yeah, because the Padres has moved him there.
Yeah, he has moved around a lot in recent years, but he is on the Guardians. So I don't know what Ken Rosenthal is tweeting there, and as I'm trying to read these as they're coming out, I'm also trying very hard to make sure that I have the correct, accounts too. I'm not trying to get catfished on any of this for us. So yeah, that's what I.
What's funny about all that to me is that the Guardians are like 2 games behind the Twins, who are at 500, right? Mm-hmm. And both of them more or less just kind of giving up. Whatever happens. Talked to one of the Twins media people today, and they're going, well, guys are just underperforming this year, and they'd like to get another bat. And then, so I guess we'll just play and see what happens in the American League East, which is Central. The American League Central is what all the pundits were saying the National League Central was going to be. They were wrong.
Well, Rammer, we can wrap up the show for today. I believe that I think we can say that we got you everything up to date. We are as up to date as possible right now with all of the trades that have gone down and anything that has possibly trickled in over the last 15 minutes here in with the trade deadline. Not as exciting being on this end of things as it has been in the past, but we will wait and see how all of these play out for the Cardinals' future. And I guess just spend the next 2 months watching baseball because we love baseball, right?
Well, this is all preparation for competing in 2024. That's why I want to see young guys play. That's why I was glad on several levels for DeYoung to be moved. And I'm fine with moving the pitchers who weren't going to be back anyway. That's all good. But as we already pointed out, I'm disappointed in the outfielder DH first base glut, the log jam in the organization. And I'm not sure how they're going to get around that. So, I think the Cardinals, C+, B-, did what they had to do. So it's okay.
All right, Rammer, we will be back tomorrow, and we'll have we should have a lot of news tomorrow to get to after John Mozeliak speaks with the media here in about a half an hour. I know Claibs said he was planning to be in the radio booth tonight during the game, too. Claibs and John Rooney on the call tonight on KMOX, so you can listen to them on the call for that and hear what they have to say and hear what Mo has to say when he joins them in the booth. Until then, here you go. Enjoy your final 2 months of baseball in the 2023 season, a season that we have, well, for people like me, Rammer, I've never seen a season like this before since I've started watching the Cardinals. So it's, we'll see how it plays out over the next 2 months and be back with you for tomorrow's game against the Twins on Wednesday night. Until then, he is Bob Ramsey, and I'm Joe Roderick. Hey, we're brought to you each and every day by the folks at Munganast St. Louis Acura and also Rammer at Royal Banks.
Royal Banks in Missouri, where better service means better banking. Give them a call, 212-1500. They will take care of all your financial needs at Royal Banks of Missouri.
Talk to you tomorrow right here on ClaibsOnline.com.
At St. Louis Acura, we have over 100 new Acura models and over 160 pre-owned models in stock or on the way in May. Get 4.9% financing for up to 60 months on 2023 Acura MDXs, TLXs, Integras, and RDX models. Or get a certified rate as low as 3.49% on certified TLX and MDX models. And you can earn up to $1,500 in loyalty incentives. St. Louis Acura, better than ever for you.